My intuition is telling me there'll be better days.
What's up, fam? So apparently the universe didn't want me to film this video with my camera, but I am ready to film this, so I'm just using my phone. But this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a long time, but honestly I was scared. And 2020, I'm trying not to let fear have an influence on my decision. So, you know, I saw a video by Raw Beauty Christy recently, and she was talking about some of her health issues and like mental health issues as well. And I'm like, you know, maybe it's time for me to do the video I've been wanting to do to help you guys understand me a little bit more, or help if you know somebody who's in chronic pain to be able to understand them more and what they're going through. But I do want to give a disclaimer. I am going to be talking about a lot of mental health issues, a lot of not so happy things. So if that's not the type of video you're looking for, check out one of my more positive videos, like knowing your self-worth, or my experience being a stripper, something more lighthearted. But this video is not that, so I just wanted to give that disclaimer. But if you do like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave. So I suffer from chronic back pain. I am in pain 24/7 every day of my life, and I injured myself in 2014, so it's been almost 6 years now. Oh my god, it's only been 6 years. Like, it honestly feels like an eternity, and it feels like a completely different life. I mean, that is because it is a completely different life. My life now, after my injury and being in chronic pain, is completely different than the life I had before. And I injured myself on the job, especially when you work in critical care. Like, these patients are, they have, you know, the ventilators breathing for them, they're sedated, they can even be paralyzed, like if they're on hypothermia protocol, you know, so they are completely dependent upon our care. We have to bathe them, and we have to reposition them every 2 hours. And when they're sedated or paralyzed, you know, they're dead weight. And patients have just been getting bigger and bigger. And I was, you know, boosting a patient with a tech, and I just felt a pop in my back. And it didn't really hurt that night, but I remember I went home, and I remember dreaming that I was in like excruciating pain. And I woke up and I was in excruciating pain. I couldn't even get out of bed. I knew I had done something really serious to my back. I had to be on late duty for 3 months, and workman's comp is just the biggest, it's the most like corrupt system I have ever been a part of. Like, it is just mind-blowing how they can just blatantly lie. So I had an MRI done in like 2010 because I had been rear-ended. MRI was clean, like showed nothing wrong with me. Okay, so then I get an MRI after my injury, and it shows I have herniated discs from L1 to S6. And the workman's comp doctors literally put pre-existing for everything. How can you, they were supposed to be comparing the two MRIs. How can you say that's pre-existing when the first report showed nothing wrong? And so because of that, they would not pay for like any treatment. The only thing they would do was pay for physical therapy. And I knew there was something like so wrong. And so after being in light duty for 3 months, that's all you can be in light duty for. So then it, like, what they would be giving me, because I, according to them, made too much money, I would only be getting like a very small amount every 2 weeks. So I was like, you know what, they're not doing anything for me anyways. I'm just gonna say I'm fine, go back to work, and use my own insurance to find out what's really you know, going on with me. So that's what I did. And so I started, you know, calling some doctors and making appointments. And one of the doctors that I called and made an appointment with was a neurosurgeon that I had worked with at that hospital. And when I called, they were like, we can't just book an appointment for you. You have to send us your MRI first. And the doctor has to look at the MRI and make sure that there's something that he can do before we schedule an appointment. I'm like, okay. I mean, I was like desperate though, because I was just in so much pain. But I was like, okay, I can understand that, you know, like I don't want to waste my time either by going in if there's nothing he can do for me. So they called me back and they were like, how soon can you get in here? And so I got in rather quickly, and he's like, we need to do this like ASAP, or, you know, you could be paralyzed. I'm like used to the workman's comp doctor saying, oh, this is all pre-existing, we can't do anything for you, to, okay, you could very well be paralyzed if we don't operate. So I had a decompression, a forminotomy, and a microdiscectomy. And after my surgery, he came out and he was like, your sciatic nerve is torn apart. Like, I tried to do my best to repair it, but there wasn't much I could do. So then of course I go back to work and I reherniate the discs that I just had surgery on. So lesson of this video, if you want to have an intact back, don't become a critical care nurse. So that surgery helped a lot with the neuropathy I was having, the nerve pain I was having. But then I started getting this really bad nerve pain, like all throughout, and it was just the most excruciating pain. And I went and I got another MRI, and they were like, your facet joints are extremely inflamed. And your facet joints are what you use when you like twist and bend and basically everything I do at work. So first they started giving me injections, and that would only last like 2 days. So then the next step was to go for radio frequency ablations, which is where they go in and they burn the nerves around the facet joints so you can't feel the pain. So eventually that's what I started getting. I've been getting RFAs because I have to get both sides done, and they can't do both sides at the same time. I end up going about every 3 months, and I have to get a nerve ablation from L1 to L5. And like, it's no joke. Like, I had to take a pregnancy test before because I have to be put under sedation, and I get these done every 3 months. And it's like, as soon as that pain comes back, I can tell. Like, and then my energy levels just drop even more. And that is something else that's really big with chronic pain. Like, chronic pain and fatigue go hand in hand. And I never really understood it at first. I mean, I knew I was exhausted all the time, no matter how much I slept. I never felt like refreshed. But now I understand it on like a physical and biological level. So when your body's in chronic pain, you know, it's constantly sending off like, you know, cortisol, and because it's inflamed and your body's reacting to that pain response. So your body's constantly like in the flight or fight, thinking it's injured, well, because it is injured. But when all of those hormones are constantly being, you know, released, you run out of them. And a lot of those, like dopamine and norepinephrine, are what regulate your mood. So this is why chronic pain and depression also go hand in hand. But I mean, you need like dopamine just to remain like within a normal functioning like energy level. And when all of that is being used in the pain response and in your body's reaction to the pain, you don't have anything else left. And it's just like, you know, a checking account. Like, I have so much money, I have so much energy per day, and so, like 90% of it is used by my body just dealing with the pain. And I have a very small amount of energy left to do the things that, you know, I need to do. And I've had to learn how to prioritize. I mean, I can still be so hard on myself. Like, there are days I can't get out of bed, and I'm just so hard on myself. I'm like, oh, you're so lazy. But I'm in so much pain where I can't pull myself out of bed. But I still feel so, like, worthless. And it's because our body is constantly in that fight or flight. When we do sleep, we can never reach like a deep, like, REM level of sleep. So because of that, no matter how much we sleep, we are always in a state of total exhaustion. Like, it's like my life, it's so sad. Like, I go to work my 3 nights, and then like my first 2 days off, I honestly sleep. I sleep for 2 days straight. And like, I just can't physically get myself out of bed. I'm so physically and emotionally tired from the pain, and then working those 3 nights takes so much out of me. And I hate that. I hate sleeping so much. I'm like, there's so many things that I need to be doing and want to be doing, but I have no energy, and I physically cannot get myself out of bed. And it's another thing, because of that constant fatigue and tiredness, my brain's like always in a fog. And, you know, like, my intelligence is something like I pride myself on. Like, I'm a very smart person, but I feel like I'm in this constant just fog, and like I can be a zombie sometimes. It's just the pain it's like a parasite. It just drains on my energy and my focus and everything that my body has, to where I'm left with nothing. Okay, so I was watching the Raw Beauty Christy video, and she was talking about how she deals with like cluster migraines, and was trying to explain chronic pain. And like, you can't like understand chronic pain unless you've actually gone through it. And a way she put it that I thought was a really good perspective on it was, it would be like trying to explain how sex feels like to someone who's never had sex. And it's just like not something you can do if you've never experienced it, or something you can't understand or comprehend unless you've experienced it. So I want to talk about how like chronic pain, and there's a higher prevalence of like depression or anxiety when it comes to chronic pain. And there's 2 different aspects to it. There's like the emotional aspect of it, where, you know, like feelings of like helplessness or worthlessness. I honestly like had to go through like the 5 stages of death, actually. I first was anger, then denial, then I was mad at first that I got hurt. I was mad at nursing. And then denial, and then I'm like, okay, maybe it's not as bad as it really is. Maybe it'll get better. And then bargaining is the next step. I would just be like, I would pray and like beg God, like, please take this pain away from me. I'll never take my health take advantage, you know, or take my health for granted again. And then depression, and finally acceptance. And I had to accept that the life I have now is not the life I had before, and I have a lot of limitations. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to understand that. And, you know, when I'm really bad and in bed, I can get so hard on myself, and I'll feel like lazy because I'm not filming, or I'm not doing one of the like million things that I need to be doing. But it's like, I know like rationally I'm not being lazy, but I feel like it, even though I'm just like in bed suffering. And then there's also like the physical part of why we're more prone to depression or anxiety. And I was kind of talking about it a little bit earlier, how we only have this certain amount of dopamine in our brains that, you know, say you have $100 of dopamine, and you know you need like 50 just to maintain a normal mood, but 80 is being taken from your body trying to deal with the pain. And so it's just the chemical and hormone part of it as well. And I know that ever since I've been in chronic pain, like I can get really irritable, like very easily. And like chronic pain has affected like every single aspect of my life. Like work, like everyone that I work with knows I have a bad back, and I've had to tell them because I need help. I need a lot more help than, you know, I used to. It's affected my friendships. Like my friend and I got in a big fight a few months ago. We didn't talk for 2 months, and it's because, I mean, ever since I've been in chronic pain, I've had to cancel a lot of plans. And, you know, I will agree to do these things because I really want to do them, but then when the date comes, I can never predict how my pain's going to be. And I've had to cancel a lot of things because of my pain. And even like when we went on a cruise, there were times where everyone, they were all going out to the club, and I was like, I'm sorry, I have to go to sleep. Like, I'm exhausted. And she was taking it like personally that I didn't want to spend time with them. And I'm like, no, don't you get, like, I would rather be spending time with you, with my friends, and making memories, but I have limitations and I can't overwork myself. It's affected like my dating. If I'll be like talking to someone, you know, for a couple days, say the days like that I'm working, because I'm usually awake those days because I have to be, and then on my first 2 days off where I basically just sleep, that person isn't here for me for 2 days. And number one, they either don't believe that I slept that long, or number two, think it's really strange that I slept that long. I mean, and it is abnormal, but that's my life. And it's really hard to find someone to date that is going to accept me being in chronic pain and the limitations it has on my life. And you know, my entire life I had wanted children, but this was something that took me a long time to come to terms with and to finally accept. But there is no way I would be able to carry or to go through a pregnancy with, I can barely function with the pain that I have now. I can't even imagine having more weight in front of me and just on my back. There's no way I would be able to get through it. I would be on bed rest the entire time, and I wouldn't be able to get my nerve ablations. So I've had to come to terms with the fact that I probably won't be a mother. I mean, I would have to, the only way that I would be able to would be if I adopted someone, but I would have to adopt kind of an older child, because not only would I not be able to endure a pregnancy, but I don't have the energy or the physical health to be running after a little toddler. And just everyday life, I can't really make a lot of plans, and I'm a big planner, but I never know how bad my pain's gonna be and how I'm gonna feel. And I've had to, going to the grocery store is an all day thing. I would have to mentally prepare myself to get dressed and get ready and take a shower, and the pain that's gonna cause, and then going to the grocery store and putting the groceries in, then getting the bags in my car, then getting them upstairs. By the time I was done putting my groceries away, I was in tears. So I've had to just pay money, and I use Instacart now and have my groceries delivered, because I was just torturing myself. I would rather pay $10 a month and get my groceries delivered to me than put myself through agony. Yeah. And if you do know someone in chronic pain, there's a few things I wanted to mention. Please don't say to them. Something that really gets on my really bothers me. And I know like people have good intentions, but when someone says, I hope you feel better, because what they don't realize is that when you're in chronic pain, you never feel better. I'm never out of pain. And yeah, so another thing is like, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried yoga? Have you done this? Trust me when I say I have tried every single thing there is, or at least discussed it with my doctor. Trust me, when you're in this much pain, you will do anything to get rid of it. And I have exhausted every option there is. I mean, I do have one option, but I would have to take off 2 weeks of work. So that means I would have to save up some money for that time off. Yeah, but I hope this kind of gives you guys a little bit more insight into me and my life, and why it's not so easy for me to like do lives or things like that and give you much notice, because I never know how I'm going to be feeling. And I've just been like, I had a nerve ablation last week, so I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but I think I'm gonna have to cut down to like 2 videos a week, because I'm just trying to do too much, and I need to put my physical and mental health first. So if you're someone in chronic pain can relate to this, please let me know in the comments below, and then, or just let me know your thoughts on this in general. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time.